Hey ladies, I'm Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. This channel, if you don't know, is all about wifehood and wellness. And I throw in every now and then beauty and fashion because I love that type of stuff. So if you like that kind of content, then stick around for more videos as such. In this video, I'm going to be talking about feminine qualities that will drive your husband crazy, okay? We have to continue to execute on our promises, and we have to continue to grow and evolve as human beings, as wives, and as husbands. It was important for me to continue to evolve in my feminine journey and also just look for different ways to exhibit more feminine qualities that not only got my husband but also keep him around and keep him crazy for me. Okay, if you're looking for ways to tap into more of your feminine energy, then this video is definitely for you. We have a power, okay? We have a inner power that keeps men coming back. And in this case, I'm talking about our husbands. I'm talking about keeping him crazy over you, keeping him wanting to run home to you. And I'm not just talking about sex, okay? I'm not talking about sex. There's so much stuff to talk about other than sex. Sex is important, but I feel like we need to dig deeper. We need to really dig deep and really connecting on different levels with our spouses. I know these are some qualities that I've definitely had to work on, and once I got it, I got it. And I noticed a change in his energy towards me, and I just noticed a change within myself. This change not only helped my marriage, but it helped me just be a better woman and really tap into my feminine energy as a woman and as a wife. And I think that there's nothing wrong with wanting to keep your husband happy and keep him in love with you and keep him crazy over you. So the first feminine quality I think that will drive your husband crazy is being able to be soft and sweet. Now, I think a lot of women, including myself, if you are raised a certain way, if you're raised to be independent, if you're raised to just be able to do things for yourself, you're raised strong by strong, independent women. It's hard to kind of operate out of a different personality if you are raised that way, if you are raised to be independent and strong and learn to do things on your own. It's hard to unlearn those things, and I'm not saying that that is a bad way to raise a child or a woman, but it's when you get older, it's something that you definitely have to unlearn if you want to tap in more into your feminine energy. Now, being sweet and soft doesn't mean that you are a pushover, doesn't mean that you are not independent, but it means that you have to find a way to be independent but also show a softer and sweeter side to your husband. So that is how you are communicating with him, how you're responding or bringing up your complaints. Is it more of a nagging tone, or if it's more than a sweet tone? Is it if you are more gracious and understanding, and if you are just have a sweet side of you which makes him wants to always be around? Let's just think of sugar, right? Most of us are addicted to sugar, and the more we eat it, the more we're gonna want it because it's addicting. It's sweet. It tastes good. You want it all the time. Just like being sweet and soft and understanding. The more that you are soft, the more that you show that sweeter side of you, the more he's want to be around, and the more it'll drive your husband crazy. So you can definitely catch more bees with honey. I was raised to be a strong, independent woman, and it took me some time to really tap into a sweeter and softer side. Just being able to let my guard down a little bit more, communicate a little bit more softer and sweeter and gentle as well. And I also want to state that being feminine, or really tapping into your femininity, doesn't have anything to do with how much money you have, the home you have, the car you drive, the labels and brands you wear. It has nothing to do with that. It's more of how you are acting, is your personality, it is the way you carry yourself. Those are the things that is a part of your femininity, and is in you. In order to really walk into that, you really have to tap into that energy and really unlearn some of those behaviors that are not so feminine. I think another feminine quality that will definitely drive your husband crazy is being humble, humility, being selfless in how you're able to serve. I think showing up for yourself is important, but also when you are married, it's important, and you are, to me, required to show up for your spouse as well. So how are you serving your spouse? How are you looking for ways to help for the betterment of the marriage? And I also think another part of humility is being able to let your husband lead, and kind of taking, not, I don't want to say the backseat. I don't know another term to say, because I don't feel like you need to take the backseat, but allowing him to lead and guide the family, allowing him to be a man and being the head and being what he is called to do as a husband, recognizing his position and his responsibility as the husband and as the head, I think is a huge part of being humble and showing great humility. But in the same sense, also knowing your position and knowing who you are as well. But being humble and showing great humility does that mean that you put your accomplishments and your pride and all the things that you have accomplished onto the back burner? But it's kind of like a balance of being able to know and recognize your strengths and your talents and things of that nature, as well as being able to be humble about them as well when it comes to your husband. Not saying that you should not clap for yourself, not saying that you shouldn't be highlighted, but I think a part of being humble and showing humility is knowing that I'm smart, or knowing that I have what I have, knowing that I have a talent, and being able to walk in it over here, and also at the same time allowing your husband to walk in his gifts and his talents and his accomplishments over here, without trying to outshine each other. Being able to walk together and being humble and showing that great deal of humility, a great feminine quality to have as a wife. We are a team. We're not trying to outshine each other. We're not trying to compete with each other. So showing humility in a marriage as a wife is super important, because it just shows that you are willing to just be humble and to walk aside, not in front or not in back, but walk beside your spouse. A feminine quality I think that every wife should have, and this will make your husband go crazy, is being able to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is something that I really struggled with in the beginning of my marriage. Up until recently, like maybe 3 years ago, is when I really learned how to start breaking down those walls and showing more of myself to my husband. I know, really getting deep and talking about what's really going on with me inside, whether it has to be with me, or whether it has to be something I'm dealing with outside the home, whether it be something I'm dealing with him. It was really hard for me to talk about my feelings, because I used to look at it as a form of weakness when I would open up and be vulnerable, because I looked at it as being weak, because I felt like society tells women, especially a woman of color, that being vulnerable or crying or talking about your feelings is you're weak or you're emotional or things like that. So I did not want to be labeled like that. And then also I didn't like confrontation. So I had to really work on that. Being able to be open and honest about your feelings will allow you to show a more sensitive side of you, and it'll allow you to tap more into your feminine energy, because femininity is all about being soft, is about being sensitive. And the more you're able to tap into that within yourself, the more you're able to do it to other people or for other people around you. So for me, in order to be more soft and sweet, I had to open up, because being hard or having this hard shell was only because I was harboring feelings, I was harboring emotions, negative feelings. And if I wasn't, and the more I wasn't able to express those negative feelings and emotions, the harder I got, the harder my heart got, and the harder my connection and the harder my communication was. So I wasn't able to be sweet and soft towards my husband, and I felt like that wasn't conducive to a successful and healthy marriage. So I think that the more we are able to just open up, practice being vulnerable to our husbands, the more it will drive him crazy, the more we can be sensitive with him and just be able to tap more into our feminine energy. Okay, so another feminine quality I think your husband will love and will drive him crazy is the way that you take care of yourself. And this is not just the way you take care of yourself physically, it's also how you take care of yourself mentally and spiritually. Those things matter as well, because again, how I was able to open up more, how I was able to break down those walls of not being vulnerable, is because I started to go to therapy. I started to journal more. I started to practice more on opening up, talking about my emotions and feelings. And so the more I invested in my self-care, the more I was able to open up and be vulnerable. So self-care is definitely an important topic in marriage. I think that self-care and being married are not mutually exclusive. I think that it's important, even in marriage, to still prioritize self-care, because self-care not only helps you, it helps the people around you as well. If your cup is empty, then there's nothing that you're going to flow over into the marriage. And if your cup is filled with trash, then that's what's going to be overflowing into the marriage. So I think that self-care is definitely important and is essential to maintaining your feminine energy and also maintaining your feminine look as well. So it doesn't mean that you have to wear makeup or get your nails done or anything like that, but there is a level of upkeep that I feel like me as a wife that I should do. So for me, I do like makeup, I do like getting my nails done and keeping my hair up. Then those are the things that make me feel feminine and look feminine on the outside. So doing those things like that, going to therapy if you need to, start a journal if you need to. Those things I think that your husband definitely appreciates, but definitely they are paying attention. So keeping up with your self-care is definitely important and is a great feminine quality to have. And so the last feminine quality I want to talk about that I think your husband would love and will drive him crazy is acts of kindness and being intentional about showing love to him and creating memories, creating a vibe for your marriage. And this year, this is something that I'm really like being intentional about and focusing on, is creating memories together, like creating new memories, being intentional about the time that we spend together, being intentional about our date nights. And it shows that you are willing and ready to make deposits into your marriage just to watch your marriage evolve. And I think that loving your husband and showing acts of kindness is a way for you to love him in the way that he likes and wants to be loved. I think sometimes we get caught up in loving people how we want to be loved, which is fine as well. But it's also important to learn others' love language and really study it and really try to deposit love tokens into our love buckets the way that we want to receive them. It's like, you're thinking about me. you know that I like this, and so you are going to do it for me because you know that I like it. To me, that's showing kindness, and that's just being intentional about making your husband feel loved. And it goes back to being sweet, that sweet example of like, the more that we show that side of us, it's kind of like sugar, it's addicting. So the more we show it, the more he's going to want to be around it, the more he's going to want to gravitate towards you, and the more you drive him crazy. And so that's the goal, right? Is to keep him coming back. You know, I think it's important not to get too comfortable in marriage. And if that's something that you've done, it's okay. It's okay. And it's something that I feel like it's okay to admit to ourselves, is that we've gotten comfortable. But I think it's another thing, it's one thing to like stay there, but it's one thing to take the acts and the steps towards making your marriage more enjoyable and memorable. Thanks so much for watching this video, ladies. I hope this has helped you. Please share this video with someone you think it may help. And if you are looking for a community of wives who are sharing self-care, homemaking, and marriage tips, join my private Facebook group community. The link is down in the description box below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again in my next one. Bye-bye.
Mom and dad's only daughter, do I make you proud?